Hello everybody, my name is Jennifer Maker. Welcome to the Great Maker Show and Tell. Today we are decorating glass blocks. So these glass blocks with the pre-cut holes in them have been popping up in craft stores a lot lately, and you may be wondering how you can use them. They are particularly popular around the holidays, but they're really useful all throughout the year. People use them as memorials and to mark special occasions, and they are also just a fabulous way to show off a pretty vinyl decal. So you can get these glass blocks at most craft stores for about $12 to $15. Now you can get blocks from home improvement stores, but they often do not have a way for you to get inside. You have to drill it yourself. And that's no fun because getting inside is how you put decorations, and it's one of the most fun things about using a glass block. And you can put little LEDs in them, just like I have here, or you can fill them with fiberfill or fake snow or sand or really whatever you can think of. Now, when you get a glass block, be sure to look for one with a smooth surface. The bumpy ones are harder to decorate, and you can decorate them in a lot of different ways. Many people paint them, but I think most people put vinyl decals on them. The glass is the perfect surface for self-adhesive vinyl, and there's so many different ways that you can do it. For my glass block, I designed a snowy window, and you can see the snow building up on the panes, and the snowflakes are swirling about. And I took advantage of the glass and the fact that you can see through the glass to put an extra layer of vinyl on the back, so that when you look through the window, you see a forest scene. And I designed this so that you can decide how many snowflakes and what sort of forest scene that you see when you look through the window. As I provided extra snowflakes, and as well as extra things to go in the scene, like a Santa sleigh and a snowman and all that sort of thing. And I put "Let It Snow" across the bottom, but you could personalize this with your own name, family name, or a saying. And I'm going to show you how you can do all of this and how you can apply your vinyl to the glass block as well. You can get my snowy window design over on my blog at jennifermaker.com. So grab the design, get a glass block, and let's make something beautiful together. So here is a glass block all ready to decorate. Well, almost ready. You'll see it has a plate at the top for us to get access to the inside. Let's remove this label so that we can get started on this. By the way, this block is 8 by 8 by 3 inches, which is the typical size for one of these glass blocks. Now we have a nice clear front for decorating, and this is really good, thick, sturdy glass. It will break if you drop it, so don't drop it, but still not really that fragile. They're pretty heavy. And of course, it has this access plate so that we can put things inside. So when I first got this, I could not figure out how to open this. It just didn't want to pop off. My solution was to use a screwdriver, and it's just insert it in this hole here and gently pry it up. So if you're also having an issue, try this tip. And once you have it off, you can remove it, and then we can put things inside of it, which is, what people like to do. The most common thing to put in are lights, specifically LED lights for safety. There's 3 different types that I found that are good. So here is a set of simple multicolor flashing LED lights, and these are very cute. And the cord for the battery pack can just lay off to the side here like this, and the little hole in the base plate will allow the cord out. So this is what it looks like. Now these aren't my favorite because of how dark the cord is. Now, I really like these fairy lights here because it has, because I love the warm white light of these, and the cord on them is silvery. And I found these lights at IKEA. They only really seem to have them around the holidays in the lighting section, but they're these pretty translucent balls, right? And I think that they look really pretty in a glass block. The only thing that you're doing is a very simple decoration because they're already diffused lights. Well, these aren't expensive, so I recommend that. Other things that you can put inside a glass block are things like fiberfill, and it gives you a nice, pretty cloudy look, right? That's all soft. And if you put lights in there too, the fiberfill diffuses the lights for a really soft glow. I don't like the harsh lights when you just stick just lights in there, especially when it's turned off. It doesn't seem as cute. So this fiberfill is really useful for making that light softer. Other things that people like to put in are fake snow and sand or marbles, really anything small like that. Now to get started, go to my blog at jennifermaker.com and go into my library, and you can download the design that I've made for this tutorial. Of course, you can put anything you want on your glass blocks, but if you want to use my snowy window, you'll find it free over on my blog. And then let me show you how to do this and how to also personalize things. Go to Cricut Design Space and click on New Project. Then click on Upload and click on Upload Image and then Browse. Locate the SVG file that you downloaded from my blog and then click on Save to save that to your Cricut Design Space library. And once it's uploaded, click on the image and click Insert Images. Now this is what it looks like when you first upload it. And as I mentioned, I created it so that you can personalize and design your own little scene. So first ungroup it, and then you have the ability to switch out these graphics. So right now I have a Santa. I'm going to move these things to the back. You just select them and choose Arrange, Send to Back, and then you have better access to the items in the front. And you can put in the deer or the snowman or the church instead. I'm sure you can find other images as well. So this would be the scene that you see when you look through the window. And then over here on the left is the decal that goes on the front of the block. And once you ungroup that, you can move these snowflakes around. You can swap them out for other snowflakes, make them bigger or smaller. Be careful about making them too small. It'll get difficult to weed. And also be aware that the snowflakes that I put in the window already are the easiest ones to weed. The ones down at the bottom are going to be a little bit more challenging, okay? Because they're more detailed. Just keep that in mind. So, but you can absolutely use them, and you may want to, you can just have fun with these, right? You can just use one snowflake and cover your entire glass block with one snowflake. Whatever you would like to do. Of course, you can use totally different designs, but if this is the one that you want to use. And when you are done with when you have your design the way you want, you need to select everything of that back window, right? And then click on Weld. A weld is going to join everything together in one element, one single image. This is what we want. Otherwise, you get all the little bits cut out of each other. So you want to weld everything together before you cut it. And this is really important. If you don't do this, it won't work out the way that you think it will. So select everything and then choose Weld. Okay? Just to make sure you're only getting that snowy window, not the brown window pane. And then for the back scene, I've separated it like this so that it'll fit onto one sheet of vinyl to save on vinyl. Of course, you could weld everything and put that together as well if you prefer. But I really think it's easier to apply the vinyl when it's not such gigantic sections of vinyl, to be honest. All right, so I put in a Let It Snow sentiment here, but you could absolutely change this to be a personalized name. And let me show you how to do that. So first, let's move Let It Snow out of the way. And you can entirely delete that or hide it, whatever you'd like to do. And I'm going to bring window forward just so that we have a nice clear canvas to work on. So click on text over on the left side and type in the text that you would like to appear on your snowy window. And then click on fonts and choose a font that's appropriate. So you're probably going to want a single layer font. And I'm going to choose a font that I have installed already. I bought this font at fontbundles.net. I will put the link to it below the video if you're interested in this particular font. This is the same font that I used for the Believe sign that I made a couple weeks ago. So now I don't like the spacing of my font, so I'm going to click Advanced and do Ungrouped Letters, and that allows me to select each individual letter and move it to be exactly where I want. This is a good tip if you're doing decorative fonts like this, because sometimes they just look really weird and the spacing is off. And once you have everything, you're going to want to select just the letters. But let me show you what happens if we don't attach them. So go ahead and click Make It, and you will see the letters there. They're just put willy-nilly all over our screen. Not terribly helpful. So let's cancel this. And I'll show you what to do so that your letters stay in order, so that you don't have to do weird things afterwards. Select each letter that you would like to have left in order, and then go down and click Attach. And now they'll all stay together when you click Make It. So they're on this second mat, but there they are, the Maker family. So let's get rid of these other things that we're not going to use. We don't need all of these snowflakes. We don't need Let It Snow or the church. So we're going to hide these things. We're going to click the eye icon, and we're going to select each item and then click the eye icon, and it will hide it from our canvas for us. Because we're going to do just the snowman and the Maker family. And if you group things first, then you can select the entire group and hide it. I find that really useful. All right, so now click Make It, and you'll see it separates things into 2 white mats, which are not really very full, are they? And 1 brown mat. So I want to show you my trick for consolidating images. These things can fit on 1 mat, I'm pretty sure. Don't you think? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the Maker family on my mat preview by just clicking and dragging. And then I'm going to click on this and click on the 3 dots in the upper left corner and choose Move to Another Mat. Click that first mat. And now it's on the mat. And you can see it doesn't quite fit, which is why Cricut didn't do it initially. But we can fix this. Rotating it doesn't quite help either. But I know that there's a way, because look at all this empty space here. By the way, if you hold Shift when you rotate, it rotates into 45-degree increments. So I think if we move the snowy scene a bit, now it fits. Because, I mean, who needs to waste vinyl? And it's not even just about wasting materials. It's also about just the time it takes to put a second sheet of vinyl in. There, so everything is on 1 sheet now. And you could space things out to have a little bit more room, which is good for when you're cutting, right? And everything is so tight. So there we go. Everything looks good. So when you're ready, click Continue. And select your Cricut. And for your material, I'm just going to use premium vinyl. And change your pressure to more. I like to do that. Right, so go ahead and cut out your vinyl, and then let's weed it. So here I have my cut vinyl pieces, 1 sheet of white and 1 sheet of brown. But let's trim your vinyl, because your window doesn't take the entire sheet. Trim it so that you can use that little extra bit of vinyl again. And then each of these windows has a pane that needs to come out. It's a pain. It's a pain. Use my weeding tool to get it to come out. Remember to always keep track of your bits of vinyl. Do your very best not to let your vinyl like flop around your work surface or touch the vinyl project that you're working on, because it wants to stick to itself. All right, so for this white layer, I find white so difficult to weed. It's just so hard to see. So I'm going to use my Cricut Bright Pad so that I can see the cut lines better. And as I mentioned, I set up the snowflakes on this white layer. So, right here, you can see how I accidentally let my vinyl touch my surface. I mean, and honestly, as I've mentioned before, I'm not a huge fan of weeding vinyl. I'm not very good at it, I'll be honest. So you'll notice there's a number of mistakes that I make. I'm leaving all of this in. I did not redo this. I think it's really helpful. If I can make mistakes and help you avoid them, then that's a great thing. So I tend to let my vinyl I tend to let it like get stuck to my surface, and that causes a lot of issues. Sometimes you can peel it right off, but other times you can't. Always be mindful of your vinyl. Make sure you're keeping it off to the side or discarding it right away so that it doesn't come back to haunt you. There's a mistake right here. I'm going to show you. Do you see? I accidentally allowed my vinyl to fall back onto my surface as I was removing it. And for the life of me, I couldn't take it off without pulling up these tiny little delicate snowflake petals. I don't even know what we call those things in the snowflake. The crystals, the arms. And so I ruined my snowflake over there. But I left all of this in here so that you can see what to do, because I don't want to recut this. It's a lot of vinyl to recut and it takes time. So what I'm going to do is I am going to recut just this snowflake. So you can see it's all messed up there. I'm going to recut just this snowflake. See, just one little snowflake. And I can do that, and then we can remove this snowflake that caused an issue, and then we will put this one on separately. Right, so it'll go there. So that'll be a third layer. But hey, I didn't have to cut out the entire snowy window, right? All right, so we use some transfer tape. So this is a layered design, and our first layer is going to be the window. That's the top layer. So remember, when we do a layered design, we always start with our top layer. So we're going to cut out a piece that's sized to our brown window panes. And then we have all these other little bits on here. So we have the leaded snow and the forest scene and everything. So we're going to cut enough transfer tape to put those on as well. And then we'll separate them. I think that knowing what layers to put on first for vinyl can be confusing. Just remember, you want to start with your top layer and then work down. Because it's so much, when you're doing layered vinyl, it's so helpful to just use one sheet of transfer tape and layer things on your transfer tape and then apply it to your surface, rather than trying to put the vinyl on your surface one by one by one. That is a recipe for disaster when you're doing a layered project. It's just so much easier to manipulate and to position things when you're just working with the transfer tape. All right, so let's put our transfer tape onto our top layer, which is our brown window. Remember to always start at the bottom and work up and smooth out to avoid creases and bumps and stuff. All right, now let's prepare our block. Be mindful of where you're going to put your lights. Do you want your light? Are you going to put lights inside and you're going to have the cord come out the bottom? Or do you want to fill your glass block with something and then you want your access panel to be on top, right? So I'm going to put lights in and I want the cord to come out the bottom. So I'm going to make sure that my access panel is on the bottom. And then we clean the surface of the glass block with some rubbing alcohol so that our vinyl will stick really well. And then burnish down your design on your transfer tape. And then position your top layer of vinyl onto your next layer of vinyl. And I'm going to tell you right now, this was tricky. And if you find this difficult, what I recommend you do is cut out each of these windows and do them individually instead of trying to do it all at once. I did not enjoy this. Trying to get it just positioned just perfectly. It was not fun. So yeah, if you're finding it challenging, just go ahead and cut out each one of those little things. And then we need to get our little snowflake on. The easiest way to do this is going to flip over your design and then place a snowflake on the back of it, like I'm doing here. And then just remove the backing. And there we go, all fixed. All right, so make sure your access panel for your glass block is where you want it to be, and that you've cleaned your surface. And then starting from one edge, like so maybe the bottom edge, for example, carefully position your vinyl over the surface of your glass block. So don't just slap it on there, because that will probably be a bad thing. You want to start at one edge, make sure it's straight, and the rest will follow suit, right? Because your glass block is straight, and so is your design. Start at the bottom, work up, and then smooth from the center outward. And then use your scraper tool or something else to get that vinyl burnished down onto your surface. If the vinyl doesn't want to stick, that means that you just need to press a little bit harder with your tool. And then very gently remove that transfer tape. Go nice and slow, especially around those snowflake details. You don't want bits of snowflake coming off and then trying to fix that later. It's much easier to fix before you apply it to your glass block than afterwards. You see right there at the edge, it's I don't know why, but the vinyl was just starting to tear a little bit, so I had to stop and the way I was doing it. And then, yeah, these large bits of vinyl like this are harder to apply because you have a larger surface where you can get air bubbles under. Generally, that looks good, but if you're having a problem with air bubbles, use your scraper tool and just try to work the air bubble out. See, so right there I have a couple. So just work it out towards the bottom. But here's the thing. You might not be able to get them out, and it's probably not a big deal because it's going to get covered by text. So don't worry about it too much. All right, let's do the back side. Wash that down with alcohol. And then just peel off your design. And where I split this in half so it'd be a little easier to do. So want to make sure you put the right half on the right side. And the cool thing about this white about this white vinyl is that it looks white on either side, right? So that's how we can do this. Even though you're going to be seeing the back side of the vinyl, it'll still look white when you view it through the glass. So be mindful if you use a different color. Not all vinyls are the same as far as this goes. Sometimes there'll be a different color on the other side. Some are the same color, but some aren't. So get that off and then scrape everything down. Get out the air bubbles. Now there's a nice big air bubble right here. You can see that, and I wasn't able to scrape it out, but you can just lift up the corner and then press it down, and then it's gone. And then position your focal point on your snowy winter scene wherever you'd like it to go. I like to do it so that you can see it through the window panes, right? That's something to be mindful of as you put this down. So burnish that down and take that off, and there we go. Isn't that cool? And you can totally see that design through the window. I think it's fun. All right, so now we need to put something inside. I tried a bunch of different ways, but I designed this so that really the lights would be just sort of at the bottom and kind of just be reflected up so that we could see the design on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bundle up these fairy lights so that they're really just at the bottom of the design, something like this. But then I want to diffuse the light with some of this cotton batting that I have, this fiberfill. But if I just shove it in there like this, it kind of wants to fluff up and cover up my design. So what I'm going to do is get some thread and just wrap it around and make a kind of lighted cloud so that everything stays nice and neat at the bottom of my lighted glass block and doesn't want to like move around a lot and just stays in that sort of bottom third and illuminates the design without overpowering it. And then I'm going to tape the cord down right there at the edge, put my access plate back in, and there we go. Now we have a nice lighted glass block. And the lights aren't overpowering it. Okay, so the bottom there, that's where you would want to personalize it. And I'm just going to put Let It Snow there. And so just make sure that it's straight and centered before you push it down, and then smooth from the center outward. And then remove the tape. My tape sort of shredded. It started to tear, in fact, and I almost wasn't sure I was going to get this off or onto the glass in one part, but it came off. And there we go. I really like this. I think it's sweet, and I like it because it'll look good even when the lights aren't on, which is what I wanted. I didn't want it to have the lights to have to be on for it to look nice. So let's turn off the lights and see what it looks like with less lights here. And then turn it on. That's very pretty, I think. I love how you can see through that. You can put a ribbon on top, or you can even decorate the sides of your glass block, whatever you'd like. You might even want to put something on the back of the glass so that you can see your design a little better since it's in white. So I hope you can see just how many possibilities there are for decorating these glass blocks. Now, I struggled a bit to come up with just one design. I actually had to refrain from going back to the craft store to buy more glass blocks just so I could decorate them differently. I am not even kidding. When I mentioned at dinner that I was thinking of going back to get more glass blocks, I got the look. You know, the look that is like, don't you have enough craft supplies already? Just kidding. Greg is actually really, really supportive of me and my craft habit. Okay, so tomorrow's project is gift tags. Gift tags. So last year I made these cool tearaway gift tags and they were a huge hit. Clearly, we all need more gift tags, especially this time of the year. So I'm going to make some new designs, and I'm going to show you how you can use your Cricut to address your gift tags for you by writing them out with a Cricut pen. It's going to be great. And don't forget to send in your project ideas at jennifermaker.com/show and tell. It's so helpful to know exactly what you want to learn how to make. Plus, it gives me permission to make all sorts of things because I know that you want to make them. Remember, if you can tell me what you want to make, I can show you how to make it. Until tomorrow. Are you still here? Okay, so now that the tutorial is over, I gotta tell you something. A couple of nights ago, I accidentally left a little bit of my footage after the end credits. Not that I really have credits, but you know what I mean. It was just me posing with my little vinyl mug so that later on I could take a nice photo and put it up in my video with my video. I was mugging. Right? Get it? I was mugging. Haha. Anyways, the footage wasn't supposed to be there. So as soon as I found out about it, I removed the videos because I was so embarrassed. I thought I looked really silly just grinning there with my mugs. But many of you saw it before I took it down. And you all sent me the sweetest notes and comments on social media. Several of you encouraged me to keep my little behind the scenes footage in, though by that point I'd already edited and re-uploaded the videos, so I couldn't. But I just want you to know that I heard you, and I so appreciate you and your kindness. You are all the best, and I love making crafts with you and for you. Thank you for your support and enthusiasm. Seriously. And I also want to take a moment to address the idea of mistakes. I made a mistake when I left in that footage. To be perfectly honest, guys, mistakes happen regularly around here. Even if I edit them out to keep my videos on track and short enough and straightforward and easy to follow. Chances are good that you make mistakes too, right? But sometimes we can just get so hung up on our mistakes. Maybe we don't like the thing that we just made, or we think that it has too many flaws, or it's just not good enough, right? I want to nip that idea in the bud right now. Mistakes are normal, and frankly, they should be celebrated. Every single stinking mistake is something to treasure, because these little mistakes that we make are how we learn and get better and faster at what we do. I've made a crazy number of mistakes, which is why I'm now a crazy crafter. All of those mistakes helped me become the person that I am today, a fearless crafter, a fearless maker who takes great joy in making things. I am not afraid of mistakes, and I don't want you to be either. Just make things and don't worry about whether there are mistakes or not. And don't be afraid to show the things that you've made. Even with those mistakes in there, I, for one, always overlook the mistakes in favor of the beauty and joy that I see in something that's been made by hand. Okay, enough chatter. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little longer tonight. Now go make stuff. Hopefully I won't leave the video this time.